This week, we're going to take a look at John chapter 19. This chapter is all about the crucifixion. Jesus being beaten and put on the cross. And the moments that surrounding that huge moment. This is a very emotional and a very intense spot in the Bible. So I encourage you to take your time and just spend some time sitting in what Jesus goes through. As we go through this section, what I want you to really take note at is who is telling the story. It's John, the Apostle John. And I want you to know at this moment when Jesus is being crucified, as he was traveling around with Jesus, he was young. He was probably around your age. He was the youngest of the disciples. He was just coming into manhood and chose to follow Jesus. And so when Jesus is put up on the cross and all this crazy and terrible things are happening, he's looking at it through the eyes of someone who was your age, who was between the age of 16 and maybe 18 years old. Think of how traumatic it would be. So as you read through this, imagine if you were there, if you were looking up at the person that you loved the most, the one that you looked up to the most, your mentor for the last, honestly, through like your entire high school career. What would have been the person that you would have looked up to, and now you're watching them suffer, and a lot of it doesn't make sense yet. But Jesus is doing it for you. Right in the middle of this chapter, there's this conversation that Jesus has with the only people who are there watching him and watching over him as he's hanging on the cross, as his blood is being poured out for all of us. So I want you to pay attention to that conversation. How would you respond if someone spoke those words to you? How would you feel and respond if the person up dying on the cross looked out and said, "It's finished"? Jesus died for you and for me. And all of this, all of what happens in these moments are to fulfill the scriptures. The prophets told of how this would happen. The book of Isaiah is just riddled with passages that point to this moment when Jesus was, his side was pierced instead of his bones being broken. He calls out for water, for being thirsty, but he gets something terrible tasting instead. And that's a way that they are mocking him. But as you read through this, as you read about the death of Jesus, view it through John's eyes. How does that change the story for you? How does that change the way that you view Jesus?